Okay, so before we even start today, I'm going to need all the Dallas area hoochie daddies to please kindly chill the F out for a second. Okay? Okay. I mean, it's not even October yet, and there's some of y'all already selling kidneys and foot picks for Super Bowl ticket money. Like, seriously, y'all, pump the brakes. Just enjoy the feeling of being taken seriously for the first time in like a decade and a half. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, this take is partially fueled by Homer syndrome induced hateration, but I mean, come on, y'all. We do this literally every single year for at least as long as I've been watching football, which is over 20 years at this point. Damn, I'm gonna die soon. What annoys me about the Dallas is going to the chip for real this time narrative is practically everybody not named Stephen A has bought into this BS hook, line, and sinker. Like we haven't seen the same script played out every single year like it were a Marvel movie. Dallas is always at worst competitive and at best looks like an absolute juggernaut from opening kickoff to the end of November. But then for God only knows what reason, as soon as the clock strikes Thanksgiving, the glass cleats come off and it's back to the same old, tired, dusty Cowboys. Basically what I'm saying is Dallas is like that one girl who texts you like her entire vocabulary is composed of nothing but sexy red lyrics. And then as soon as it's time to actually link up, she finds Jesus. And no, I'm still not over it. And yet, everywhere I look online, almost everybody has Dallas at the top of their power rankings as the undisputed best team in the league right now, with some people even comparing them to the '86 Giants. Really, Nick? Really? Really, Nicholas? I know the point of people like Nick Wright is to basically troll middle-aged dudes so averse to anything pre-9/11 that they don't even know what trolling is. But I mean, come on, Nick. I get the KC bit at this point, but the '86 Bears? Real? Like, for context, this was the Giants' playoff run that year. Speaking of playoff runs, remember last year when Philly reeled off 8 straight wins that really would have been 12 if this face mask was called and this ball wasn't fumbled? And the common refrain of people like Nick was, "Oh, well, they haven't played anyone yet, guys." Despite beating a Lions team that would have made the playoffs if God didn't hate Detroit for some reason, mud stomping a Vikings team that made a divisional appearance, albeit fraudulent, Aaron Rodgers in prime time, plus Jacksonville, New York, and the freaking Cowboys who all made the playoffs. So tell me again, Nick, who has Dallas beat this year? A Giants team that needed a miracle and a Jonathan Gannon defense to barely beat the Cardinals and Zach Wilson. Yeah, I'm not going to get too excited about those text messages until I see the draws come off this time. Yeah, I'm still bitter. Now, understand something, y'all. I'm not saying that the Cowboys aren't a good football team. I'm not even saying that they're not a Super Bowl contender this year. But again, the '86 freaking Bears, man. Like, hooray, kudos to Dallas. You're 2-0, guys. So is New Orleans and Atlanta for what that's worth. Now, speaking of the Cowboys, at the time of recording, it just came out that Trayvon Diggs is out for the season. And I'm going to be real with y'all. That genuinely sucks, man. One thing I never understood is people who cheer for injuries. And yes, I do know about Michael Irvin. Y'all don't have to remind me. I wasn't watching ball at that time. Shut up. Personally, what I want to see is my best guys against your best guys so my best guys can whoop your guys' behinds. It's just more fun that way. Thoughts and prayers up for Trayvon. See you next season, big dog. After we raise the banner, of course. Now back to our regularly scheduled rant. Listen, I get it. We've been starved for actual meaningful football for as long as it took my kids to gestate. So every game at this point in the season feels like the Super Bowl. At least for the teams who probably won't be there at the end. I wouldn't know, of course. Kind of explains the Dallas hype, actually. Point is, it's the height of overreaction season. And that's basically the whole gist of this video. Like, listen, the Bengals are winless right now. And Joe Burrow looks like Joe. I don't know. Who's a Joe that's bad at football, y'all? Joe Biden, nigga? Whatever. But guess what? The Bengals came out 0-2 last year and then wound up like one bad special teams play away from the chip. So yeah, I'm not too pressed about them. Another overreaction is the so-called regression of Jalen Hurts and the Eagles passing. The takes I see on Hurts, like he was a one-year wonder, he can't throw over the middle, or my favorite is 2018 Carson Wentz all over again, just lets me know who's actually watching the games and who's just watching the fantasy scores. I was at the home opener, and yeah, seeing the whole field, there were a few open looks that Hurts just flat out missed. One really bad decision that the whole stadium knew was a pick the minute it left his hand, and just him looking generally uncomfortable out there. That's partly on Hurts, it's partly on BJ, and partly because he just played a top 10 D from last year, coached by probably the greatest defensive mind the game has ever seen with 8 months to prepare for him, and then Brian Flores, who has one of the hardest defensive schemes to play against for any O. Like, if I had the time, I would break down the X's and O's, but basically Flores is a master of disguise is what I'm saying. You think you're looking at an all-out blitz pre-snap and nope, gotcha, nigga. Look at the depth these linebackers get on this play. Granted, ain't no way you don't just throw the check down here, but I mean, then again, everybody can make that read watching the replay from their couch, right? The thing that people seem to forget is that Jalen actually threw 3 touchdowns last week, 2 of them back-to-back even. But one got called back because Rashad Penny is a worse blocker than Brittany Renner's wing woman, and the other was arguably the worst non-call of the season so far. So no, I'm not that pressed about Jalen or the passing of the Eagles either. Ask me again in like 2 weeks, and if he's still throwing for like $150 a game, then yeah, it's time to talk about whether the sky is falling or not. But you know where the sky is actually falling? Probably over Soldier Field. Yeah, guys, I think it's time for us to have the Justin Fields talk now. Listen, I was rooting for the guy. I'm not even going to cap for y'all. There was a small moment in time where I was kind of on board with the Eagles drafting him and, I don't know, maybe sort of replacing Hurts. But that was before we knew that Hurts would be the Hurts that he is today. But that being said, y'all, honestly, I never really understood the preseason hype around Justin Fields. Like, I get it. He's kind of like the diet version of Michael Vick in his Atlanta days. But the thing that people seem to forget is that 20 years ago, you could get away with just being hands down the best athlete on the field. Like when Mike's first read wasn't there, he could basically just outrun everybody and go for a home run on every play. And if it was there, he would just throw the ball 50 yards downfield to a wide open receiver. Justin just ain't on that level, even if it were 2004 all over again. To play quarterback in the league today, you got to be able to go through your progressions, and you got to just be able to make basic reads, which Justin just ain't doing right now. And I'm going to keep it a buck. The Bears ain't really doing him any favors, and that's part of the reason why they're a poverty franchise to begin with. Part of it is management, part of it is coaching, but y'all, I really don't think that this marriage between Chicago and Fields is going to work out, just like most of y'all's. I'm not saying that Justin can't be a good quarterback in the league. I just don't see that happening in Chicago. And speaking of quarterbacks not living up to expectations, God almighty, am I glad that we missed out on the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. So I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all. Even outside of all of the off the field stuff, I was never really on the Deshaun Watson bandwagon, simply because I don't really recall a time when trading multiple first rounders for one dude actually worked out for the team getting that one dude. Okay, like in the last 10 years, man. For somebody other than the Rams. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Even if the nigga still could play, I probably would not be rooting for this team with this man on it. And yeah, I do understand that there's probably an alternate timeline out there where Deshaun is visiting the area massage parlors with nothing on but his Kelly Green game day jersey. But just let me have this one, y'all. And something that I noticed watching that Brown Steelers game the other night is not only the decline of Deshaun's play, but also his demeanor. Like, you can tell he's playing with a chip on his shoulder, but not the good kind of chip that comes from, I don't know, being like a late round or an undrafted pick, but the kind of chip that you have when you know you've done something really, really bad, but you also refuse to take accountability for it. And you're just pissed because the whole rest of the world won't let you forget about it. So you just lash out. And yeah. This is the Browns, guys. The same team that drafted Johnny Manziel because a wino told them to. Fly, Eagles, fly.